If you could only have one superpower as a project manager, what would it be? Super speed to meet impossible deadlines? X-ray vision to see through stakeholders? Mind reading to know what clients exactly want? I'm going to tell you the one skill that separates average project managers from the ones who actually get things done. And more importantly, why this superpower guarantees that AI will never replace us. If this is your first time here, I share real project management advice for people working in the trenches, not the textbook fantastic version. Here's the truth nobody talks about in PMP certification courses. Project managers don't have authority. We have influence. Think about it. You don't decide anyone's salary. You don't control promotions. You can't find a developer who's 3 weeks behind schedule. Yet somehow, you're supposed to deliver complex projects involving dozens of people who don't actually report to you. The one superpower that changes everything? The ability to influence stakeholders. This isn't some soft skill they mention in passing. This is the core competence that whether your project succeed or become cautionary tales in someone else's LinkedIn post. Let me break down why this matters more than any technical certification you will ever get. Your first challenges. The executives writing the checks. These are your project sponsors, senior leadership, anyone who can kill your project with one single email. They live in the world of competing priorities, quarterly pressures, and budget constraints you probably don't even know about. Here's what I learned the hard way. Executives don't want updates. They want business updates. Instead of saying, we are 73% complete on Sprint 6, try, we are on track to reduce customer onboarding time by 2 weeks, which should impact QC revenue numbers positively. Your ability to influence these people determines whether you get additional resources when scope inevitably creeps, whether you get timeline extensions when reality hits your Gantt charts, and whether they listen to your risk assessments before making decisions that could derail everything. I've seen brilliant project managers fail because they couldn't translate technical progress into business language. Don't be that person. The executives who fund your projects need to understand not just where you are, but why it matters to their bigger picture. That's influence, not reporting. Now for the people actually building your projects. Your developers, designers, analysis, subject matter experts, they all have day jobs beyond your projects. They report to functional managers who have their own deadlines, their own priorities, and their own performance reviews to worry about. Your star developer cares more about the architecture review with their tech lead than your sprint demo. Your designer is juggling 3 other projects with people who can actually control their career progression. So how do you get people to prioritize your work when you are not their boss? It's all about creating alignment, not giving orders. Make sure everyone understands not just what they're building, but why it matters. Help them see how their piece connects to the bigger picture. When people understand the purpose behind the work, they're more likely to raise concerns early instead of letting problems fester until your demo day. I stopped asking, when will this be done? And starting asking, what will help you deliver this successfully? The shift from interrogation to collaboration changes everything. And here's a pro tip. Always share credit publicly and take blame privately. Your team members will remember that, and it builds the trust currency you will need when the next crisis hits. The third group everyone forgets about. The people who actually have to use whatever you're building. These folks often aren't involved in the project at all. They find out about changes when someone sends an email saying, starting Monday, everything you've done for the past 5 years works differently now. Good luck! This is where most projects fail. Not in development, but in adoption. Your influence here is about change management, not project management. You need buy-in before go live, not after. Start early. Bring end users into testing. Show them why this change will make their lives better, not just different. Create champions within their team who can advocate for the solution when you're not in the room. I learned this on the CRM project where we built exactly where the sales team requested. Technically perfect. Deliver on time, under budget. 6 months later, adoption rates were terrible because what they asked for wasn't what they actually needed. The ability to influence end users means involving them in the solution, not just delivering to them. Now, here's why this superpower guarantees job security in the AI world. Everyone's worried about that AI will replace project managers, and I get it. The technology is impressive. Tools like Microsoft Copilot can access all your project data, every email, every meeting transcript, every document. AI can track timelines, identify risks, even predict delays better than most humans. At my company, we use this entire Microsoft 365 suite: Outlook, OneNote, Loop, Teams, recording with transcripts, everything. Technically, Copilot could know exactly what's happening in every project, every conversation, every decision. But here's what AI will never understand: the political undercurrents, the personal concerns, the unspoken conflicts that drive most project decisions. Let me give you some real examples from my projects. AI doesn't know that your database administrator is dealing with a family crisis that needs some flexibility this month. It can read the body language in meetings when two department heads are simply undermining each other because of the budget dispute from last quarter. AI won't catch that your biggest stakeholder is secretly job hunting and might not be around for the project launch. But you notice they've been taking a lot of dentist appointments lately and seem disengaged in planning sections. It doesn't understand that the reason your development team keeps pushing back on one particular feature isn't technical. It's because they think that it's a terrible user's experience, but they're afraid to directly challenge the VP who requested it. AI can detect that finance is about to announce a hire freeze next month, which means you need to get your resource requests approved before the end of this quarter. It doesn't know that the reason your key stakeholder always seems negative in meetings isn't because they hate a project. It's because their team is overwhelmed, and they need you to find ways to reduce their workload, not add to it. All the real project management happens in the spaces between the official communications. The hallway conversations, the coffee chat concerns, the "hey, can I ask you something off the record" moments. The ability to read a room, to sense when someone's holding back information, to know when to push and when to give people space. AI can process data, but it can't build relationships. It can identify patterns, but it can't earn trust. It can suggest solutions, but it can't convince a reluctant stakeholder to actually implement them. And here's the kicker: even if AI could somehow access all this human intelligence, influence still requires the human touch. People don't want to be managed by algorithms. They want to be understood, respected, and led by someone who gets the complexities of their situation. That's purely human territory, and it's where influence actually works. So, how do you actually build this influence superpower? First, invest in one-on-one relationships before you need them. Don't wait until there's a crisis to start building trust with your stakeholders. Second, learn to speak everyone's language. Executives want business impact, developers want technical clarity, and users want to know how this affects their daily work. Third, become a facilitator, not a commander. Your job isn't to have all the answers, it's to create space for the right conversations to happen. And finally, remember that influence is earned through consistency. Show up, follow through, and make other people's job easier. Do that repetitively, and people will listen when you lead them to. Look, you can memorize every framework, get every certification, and master every tool. But if you can't influence stakeholders, you are just an expensive coordinator. The best project manager I know aren't the ones with the most technical knowledge. They are the ones who can get people moving in the same direction, even when those people have completely different motivations. That's not a skill AI can replicate. That's purely human, and it is your competitive advantage. Where is your experience with stakeholder influence? Drop a comment and let me know your biggest challenge. I read every comment and often create videos addressing your specific situations. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.